So for those that have had previous experience with Euroconsumers events, it's a known fact. When I get on stage, we are near to the end. Much more important, aperitif time is coming. Well, this year is a special year. Unfortunately, we cannot have a toast all together, and this is a sad thing. On the other hand, you are lucky because this year we have with us somebody that will wrap up much better than me. I'm honored to present you Massimo Serpieri, Deputy Head of Unit Consumer Policy at DG Justice, European Commission. Massimo, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. Thanks a lot for a nice presentation. Yes, I'll have the pleasure of trying to wrapping up the main, let's say, we are used to call outcomes of this very rich afternoon. So I'll do my best. I have to thank in advance, of course, also some, let's call friends, colleagues from other towns, because I've been following the Brussels sessions, Lou, Ezizen, Bruno, and Sabrina for the other towns. And in doing my wrap-up, as I was told that I just would have a few minutes, I will have, of course, to skip some of the points. Sorry for that. So I'm trying to focus on some of the most relevant ones. So I also apologize in advance with some speakers that will not be mentioned. But okay, let's go through what I retained, of course, from the opening speeches from Commissioner Reinders and Ivo Meckels. Basically, is the fact that, as it was then rephrased in different ways by many speakers, is the fact that we need a sort of holistic approach. This is what was suggested and is proposed actually in the consumer agenda, which means that we have covered both when speaking about sustainability, the demand and the supply side. So when we want to propose more options, free choices for consumers, real ones, to take suitable products, so through also better information, but also from the supply side, we need more engagement in terms of repairability of products. And for instance, finding spare parts. These are very concrete things which were evocated now at the last session. Ivo highlighted, for instance, all the fact that we have a number of initiatives such as the Trop Vite Usé platform that can be very useful and are useful to fight against premature obsolescence. So in what happened in Brussels is that we listened to various different and interesting initiatives. One of them is that one from Google and Euroconsumers about digital well-being, data privacy, and children safety. Here, data are very interesting because on one side we have certain reassurance about the feeling of well-being by many people, but actually, when talking about data is unfortunately a cross-cutting element that in this session, but also in other ones, has raised interest and also some, let's say, preoccupation. That, for instance, in this case, 1 out of 5 people only thinks full transparency on data. This is linked also from the, let's say, policy-making point of view from the MEP Marina Kalurand, the fact that there is this need to have a better confidence in data protection by consumers, and so we need trust. Trust, it's quite ambitious but necessary starting point between not only service providers and consumers, but also from the public authorities. There should be a full system, an ecosystem, as Monique Oyen said, where consumers can trust the fact that their data are safely used. From the Commission side, again, Niels Bert reminded that, of course, the agenda is not patronizing consumers. We don't want to tell people what to eat and which travel, what sort of mobility, transport possibility they have to exploit, but actually is to give them better choices and more open one. So this is the first point that he highlighted. The second one I think is good to pick is the fact that we need a social dimension on sustainability. It should not be something for the wealthy people, should be something for rich and poor people. This is inclusiveness, I think, is a pillar, the agenda that was evocated also in some situations in this and in the discussion today. The very important element, I think, that we heard about a number of initiatives. I was very interested, for instance, in the one presented by Amazon representative Kara Hust about the strategy to zero carbon by 2040. And here the accent was put on the transparency of information about gas emissions by Amazon, but also on the fact that the companies that adhere to this initiative, and some of them were mentioned, should be able to show and give evidence of the real operational changes that they put in their business, which means in terms of renewable energy efficiency and others. So this was very much emphasized, such as the sustainable packaging efforts put by Amazon. In Rome, colleagues reminded me that the discussion was around 2 or 3 main points. I would say, just to pick of some of them, again, apologies if I skipped something, but Carbon Trust explained extensively how they have been working with Amazon to help reduce the company's own carbon footprint, and now how they can are trying to better inform the consumers about it. But about, not surprisingly, the topic of the Digital Service Act and the responsibility of platforms here, the discussion was very well animated and interesting, in the sense that, of course, the Digital Service Act must find a balance between innovation and risk, fair competition on one hand, but also handling consumer transparency on the other. And MEP Sandro Gozzi argued really that it is important to go ahead and have a further regulation. He expressed this view on the big platform. And also made the point that I think surely it is important to remind, is also in the consumer agenda, what is illegal offline should be also online. So this kind of comparability should become reality. Professor Maffei also recalled the importance that Europe now has the momentum, let's say, the opportunity to be the factory for ethical artificial intelligence for consumers. This is very important, that we can take, let's say, a lead in terms of injecting or embedding, let's say, artificial intelligence progress with the ethical aspects. Of course, a lot has already been done, as you may know. From Madrid, together with putting in evidence the importance of science criteria that also were mentioned by several times by companies as the basis of their efforts to have sustainable business approach. It was also recalled that the Spanish ministry is implementing a quite wide strategic plan for consumer protection, including the promotion of sustainable, responsible, accessible consumption. And also they're addressing problems in particular for vulnerable consumers. As you may know, in the agenda we have what we call people with specific needs, but of course we mean in particular for the vulnerable consumers, those because of their age, their geo-isolation, of little financial literacy, or other reasons, can really be neglected, let's say, or can suffer most for any, let's say, situation where their rights are not protected. So this is a particularly important point, I think. From Lisbon, the Vice President of IMCO, of the Parliament Committee, recalled the importance, or among others, this is something also important, because I want also points that are very important are mentioned, even if once, at least what I heard, what I saw, is digital education. Actually, this is very key for both companies and consumers. So we need really to have digital education as part of a citizenship. Is one of the pillars. And also it was pushed the idea, but of course this is already there, but it was made explicit, of having sustainability of a sort of cross-cutting element of all future innovation. Another accent also still in Lisbon was about the important put on in this panel. I understand on the role of producers to transform the methodologies, of course. And this is, I can say, this matches what was lastly said about the importance of the demand side, said that we can make a change. So if consumers make a change, also ask for changes, also the supply side follow. In this case, it was the accent put or vice versa. The fact that producers must, I use the term must, I'm verbatim, potentiate a new path for consumers offering more suitable products. So it's very interesting to see who come first, but surely both are necessary. In Sao Paulo, I understand the discussion was very much, at least partly macro, in the sense that, of course, in terms of the country, Brazil, too, is making a good effort to becoming a full member of ACD, and also to work to under the European Union Mercosur for free trade agreement, and also on the adaptation new Brazilian data protection law. These are all very much important frameworks, of course, under the which you can have digitalization and sustainability safe and on a durable basis, let's say. But also another point was not neglected here to the question of partnership. It was mentioned Brazil, the Euro Consumer Organization there is working in partnership with Mercado Livre, the leading e-commerce platform in Latin America, on best solution for consumer. This is very important, of course, along the lines of the partnership. Under the common sessions, and just to pick from the very inspiring intervention by Professor Sachs, the fact that, of course, we are quite proud to see from other countries the praising for the Green Deal as a rational, holistic approach. And what is interesting to see that it's very important that, of course, that the public money should be, let's say, put where sometimes the private sector is not so much interested to be involved. But I think this might be linked also to the general system in the US. In Europe, you might have a different situation depending also country by country. But surely the debates today are showing that there is a quite convergence, at least in some respect, from the private sector and the public authorities and consumers in working together toward the same objective. The last point on the new social contract was very wide and very, let's say, juicy. Really, they mentioned, thanks for that, some of the concept that I had already in my mind when preparing this warm-up session, because of course I heard about transparency, accountability, concreteness, science-based approach, and also Veronica, colleague, also she stressed that, of course, our choice matters and we have to be engaged. So because from difficult situation, you can have a lot of potential that I would subscribe. So if I have to really the final 2 or 3 remarks, I would like to say that if we had to turn our discussion today around some keywords, I think that surely consumer empowerment and partnership were the starting point, but they are now accompanied by a clear need for, by saying that we have to work and all have to work together, by the clarity about different roles and responsibilities, and we need concrete actions. And I'm happy to say that the agenda, which is a political document, actually it contains 22 concrete actions, some of which are more legislative, some other are really concrete projects. We also talk about providing, for instance, local advice to vulnerable consumers, for instance. And also, so this is linked to the inclusiveness that I already mentioned. I think it's important. So if the paradigm is trust partnership, I think that to do that, we have really this need for transparency. And here I have to recall, of course, the role of consumer organizations that are becoming even more important with the new consumer agenda in terms of setting up, let's say, this kind of mutual cooperation. So I would like to thank really all the speakers. I am really interested also in the future to learn more about the follow-up of the very interesting initiatives from the private sector, because we heard about many, many important things. So we look forward to further initiatives, and so that we can together contribute to achieve all the ambitious goals for the agenda, the Green Deal, the Circular Economy Action Plan, and others and others. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Massimo. We started this forum with an enlightening keynote speech of Commissioner Didier Reynders. And we conclude now with your fantastic wrap up. Please come in all our events because this makes my life much better. But this shows plastically how close we are in this particular moment with DigiJustice and with the European Commission in general. As our CEO Ivo Mekel said earlier today, the new Commission, the new consumer agenda is a very ambitious one. And Euroconsumer is ambitious too. Moreover, we speak the same language because the words that I have in my mind after this day is sustainability, responsible digitization, both to be implemented through strategic collaborative approach with the responsible market players. So the third word is partnership. I believe we need now to add a fourth word is to be concrete. We owe this to the consumers. Our path is clear and the next steps are well defined. But this is time to pass to say thanks to many people. I want to start with all our employees, the employees of Euroconsumers, of Testaccia, of Altro Consumo, of OCU, of Deco Proteste and Proteste. You have to know that they are more than 1,000, and I know that many of them are connected in this moment. I want to thank them for the hard work you are doing in this special time to support our 1,500,000 members. And the consumer, and they help them in their daily choices and their daily problems in this particular time. So you do a very good work. And this is our consumer power. On this, we have to base our future. I want to thank also the partner, the main partner of this event that are Google and Amazon, and the local partner that are Mercadona in Spain and Mercado Libre in Brazil. Not only because they rendered possible this event, but together with many other responsible and fair market players, we want to build that path of concretization of commitments during 2021. This is our approach that we use to call Approve by Tomorrow. We need to build together a better tomorrow. At this moment, at this moment in our event, I normally watch the first row near the stage to have eye contact and try to understand if this event has been appreciated, liked or not. This is another thing, unfortunately, that it is impossible today. But I want to thank for their renewed confidence the member of the board of administration of Euroconsumers, our great organization. I want to thank many other persons, the colleagues of Bolt, Lou, Will, and John, the colleagues of Connexia, all the colleagues of Mosaico that made possible this event with their technological and professional support. I want to thank Michele and Marta for rendering possible for the second year the edition of the BEX Award, which I perceive will have a big future. And then I want to thank the fantastic local manager of PAM, Ileana, Rita, Jean-Philippe, and Ivo. I want to thank Luisa and Maria Grazia. A special thank goes to Els. Maybe you can rest a bit more from the next days for a while. But finally, I want to thank, together with this fantastic Brazilian team made of Nilzete, Sabrina, Elusa, Marilia, Patricia, and Tamiris, the person that have contaminated me with these unconventional ideas while remaining firmly on the track of consumer protection. And who at the same time, I have to say, put my managerial skills to a strong test. He is a sort of magician, the curator of this and the next editions of the International Euroconsumer Forum, Enrique Lian. Thank you very much, Enrique. I want to challenge on my time, I have to launch a challenge to you. Next Euroconsumer Forum should be a connected and in presence event. And the concept is square to square. 5 squares in the Euroconsumers headquartered cities connected. Please start to think about this. Finally, although we are far away, I want to have a toast with you all, dear friends. Today we have discussed in depth the crucial role that consumers play in the recovery strategies of after COVID. Unfortunately, we are deeply still in the COVID emergency, but we need to think about the future. And my toast is to the next steps in the process of rebuilding the economy to ensure that we will come out of the coronavirus pandemic stronger and greener than before. Cheers.